what happens is when someone is not, on the books, they are still covered as long as the employer admits that they were employed. Now, I'll give you an example. So, in the particular case that I met with the gentleman, the answer was that the employer had indicated to their insurance that he was, in fact, an employee of the company. So, there are no issues. But certainly, the way he described it, that he was paid in cash. And so you get the sense that, he was not necessarily on the book. So, why would employer do that? The answer is part of how workers' compensation premiums get established is they get determined by one of the factors is the number of employees that you have working for you. So if you underreport how many employees are working for you, then you have a better shot at having a lower workers' compensation premium for purposes of paying your workers' comp insurance. So that's one of the reasons why employers sometimes do that. The other is it may be what they call piecemeal work. So I need to hire you for X period of time, and even at that point they should indicate that they're employed. But sometimes that happens. But if in fact someone is not working on the books, can they be covered by workers' comp? Absolutely. Now, I had a great situation where we had a client who was working on the roof of a house and was wearing the T-shirt of the company that he was working for. And one of his legs fell through the roof, and then he fell to the ground when he tried to get his leg out of the roof. And the someone from the job site took him to the hospital and basically dropped him off. And then they tried to indicate that he was not an employee of the company. Well, one of the things that he had done when his leg was stuck in the roof was he started taking a couple of selfies. And one of the selfies that he took actually had the logo of the T-shirt right in the picture. So it was easy to determine that he was on a particular job site wearing the T-shirt of the employer who said that they had no idea who he was. And needless to say, that was covered by workers' comp. Once we showed the insurance company the pictures, that was, as they say, all she wrote. So, but if you are not on the books, you are certainly able to get covered by workers' compensation. Okay. Now, the question is, what if you are not legal in the sense that you don't have your papers to be in the country? Are you covered? The answer is yes. It doesn't matter for New Jersey workers' compensation whether you are here legally or not. If you are working for a company and you sustained an you sustained an injury as a result of your work, whatever it may be, then you are absolutely covered by New Jersey workers' compensation. Again, there are times where employers will try and indicate that they have no idea of who you are or whatnot. We have had situations where clients have come to us and indicated the employer has offered them, thousands of dollars in cash not to say anything or promise to pay the bills or all that stuff. And that's all fine and good until there's actually like a real bill, at which point then all of a sudden, they don't know anything. And now all of a sudden they're not going to cover your medical expenses. So I understand that for certain employers in certain industries that workers' compensation insurance can be expensive. I would argue not nearly as expensive as if you are an uninsured employer who is about to get dinged as a result of not carrying workers' comp insurance. So with that, Be aware that if you know of somebody who gets hurt and they aren't either legal or on the books, they are absolutely covered by New Jersey workers' compensation, meaning that they would be entitled to the same benefits. They'd be entitled to medical treatment. If they were out of work, they'd be entitled to the temporary disability or that workers' comp payment, and then they would be entitled to receive an award for their injury. So, I also wanted to emphasize had a situation this week where met with a client and they worked for a like a service. Why can't it like a job placement service? And so like a staffing company, that's what I was looking for. And they were placed at a different job. And as a result of negligence, which occurred at that job, the individual got injured. And so they were getting paid their workers' comp. Um, they were getting paid their workers' compensation um, benefits from their employer, which is the staffing company, the temp service, but they will also have a third party case against the individual company whose negligence caused them to get injured. So that was a situation that had come up just this week. And then the other one was an individual had been working at the company. They were injured. They were injured as a result of, I'm going to say, they were told to do a job a certain way, and it wasn't the appropriate way to do the job. And as a result, they got hurt. So there, it's important to understand the distinction. The employer, by telling the employee the wrong way to do the job, in essence, is negligent, but because it's their direct employer, cannot pursue the workers' compensation claim, cannot pursue the third party claim. You can't sue the employer, even though in that case, the employer was clearly negligent for telling the injured worker how to do the job wrong, and they got hurt and they were negligent. But because it was the employer, you cannot sue the employer. So the only avenue that we have in that case is to pursue the workers' compensation claim for that person.